First on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It is the mission of Montague Area Public Schools to educate and inspire all students to become motivated, articulate, productive, and successful citizens for today, tomorrow, and forever. Item 3 on the agenda is roll call.
Mr. Bauer? Here. Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Reed?
Here.
Ms. Francis? Here. Ms. Dahl? Here. Mr. Weishaus? Not here.
Okay, item 4 is a hearing on the 2024-25 budget.
Okay, so this hearing is held to allow for public comment regarding the district's 24-25 budget. And we'll go more into detail on the budget during the actual board meeting. But tonight we will be asking the board to approve the budget for next year. It does contain $962,991 in expenditures. It also has our debt levy and sinking fund levy, which is 8.5826 mils. The debt levy remains the same at last year at 7.8 mils, and the sinking fund was rolled back slightly, so that is 0.7826 mils. Are there any questions or comments at this time regarding the budget? Seeing that there are none, then
We did have a budget hearing or committee meeting previously as well. And we'll discuss that further in our agenda as well.
all right, seeing that there are none, we just need a motion to adjourn the budget hearing. So moved. Support.
By Cindy, support by Amanda. Discussion. All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion carried. So, we're gonna call the next meeting to order, correct? Ready to gavel it again, or just say call it order? We'll gavel it. Call the meeting to order. Again, it is the mission of Montague Area Public Schools to educate and inspire all students to become motivated, articulate, productive, and successful citizens for today, tomorrow, and forever. Do we need to do the pledge again? All right. Do we need a roll call? Yes. All right.
Mrs. Dahl? Here. Mr. Johnson? Mr. Weishaus? Mr. Reed?
Here.
Mrs. Francis? Here. Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mrs. Newbauer? Here.
Item 4 on the agenda is approval of agenda. Moved by Amanda. Support. Support by Joel. Discussion. All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 5 on the agenda is the consent agenda. Motion by Amanda. Support by Joel. Discussion.
I'd just like to point out a couple retirements on the agenda, thanking them for their work. Linda Deal, Gina Scholl, Loretta Trudell, as they're moving on in their retirements. I'd also like to put an extra thank you to Beth Baker for her many years of service here as our early elementary special education teacher. She's done a wonderful job for us in the district. She was looking to retire mid-year, but has chose to do so at this point in time. So thank you to her for her service within the district. Also pointing out Ms. Gomez as well. This is a yearly resignation. We do post looking for somebody. Nothing that Ms. Gomez has done wrong. She has helped us out greatly in just finding aid that helps us tremendously here in the district, and she can get back as well. And Cassie Gale leading us for the teaching center for Richard Elementary School as well.
Any additional discussion? Questions? All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 6 on the agenda is public comment portion of the meeting. Public comments will be accepted at this time. Each statement shall be limited to 5 minutes duration. Participants shall direct all comments to the board and not to staff or other participants. The board welcomes public comment but does not respond to citizens' concerns at its meetings. At the citizens' request and the board's direction, the superintendent designee will respond in a timely manner. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public. for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and not to be considered a public community meeting. Do we have anybody on the public comment list? Okay. Give Michelle a second. See how fast she is.
All set.
Maybe on the list. Are there any others that would like to make public comment at this time? All right. Item 7 on the list is reports.
Okay. We will move into the financial report for the next school year. So I was here last month and presented this current school year's budget, and now we're looking forward to next year's proposed budget. Right now, there are a lot of unknowns. Every June, we're asked to make this budget, and every June, we have a lot of unknowns. And here are some things that we considered as we made this budget. The first is what our pupil count looks like. How many kids are going to be in seats next year? What we did is we moved students forward a grade and made an assumption of how many students will be in the seats in the fall. It does look like we'll have about 1,315 students, which is a 53 student loss from this fall. There's also 3 different funding proposals out there in the legislature right now for the per pupil allocation. We go with the governor's proposal of a $241 increase, which will bring our per pupil allowance up to $9,849. We also take into consideration staffing changes that may evolve over the summer. We take into account possible increased salaries and benefits, student contract negotiations, and there are a lot of unknowns regarding categoricals, regarding state funding that we will receive. What we do know is at this point in time, we're going to receive about $723,000 less revenue than we did this current school year. And now we will have more information once the legislature decides what's happening, when we know how many kids are in seats. We'll have more information for you in the December amendment that will better reflect our budget for next year. If we dig into everything by category, we'll dig into revenues first, and that's down about $723,000. Local sources is a large portion of that. That's down $560,000. We have provided transportation for electric for us, and we currently don't have that revenue in there because that contract has not been signed yet for next year. Also, we had some local grants. We had Farm School Production Kitchen grant, which has expired. We have our Lighthouse Learning grant, which has expired and will not be carried into next year. We have some reimbursements that we've received. This past year, one of our vans was totaled. We received an insurance reimbursement for that. Our business office provides services for Whitehall, and that contract is coming to an end. And we have an English language teacher who provided some services to other ISD districts, and that contract is ending as well. Then we go to our state sources, which is down about $42,000. A lot of different factors at play there. That's where our per pupil allocation comes into play, our calculations of how many students will be in attendance, also the categoricals that the state's going to give us. Now we know we're going to get some categoricals. We know we're going to get our 23G, which is our kids back on track. That's going to provide our tutoring for next year. It's going to provide our summer school for next year. We know we're going to get our 35J, early literacy. That's going to allow us to buy new curriculum. It's going to provide PD for our teachers. What we don't know are some of the categoricals that we have been receiving, health and safety grants. Those are still up in the air because the 3 different proposals can't seem to agree on anything. So since we don't have a clear picture of what those look like, those are currently not in the budget and may be reflected in the December amendment plus the amount that was made up with the legislation. Federal sources are down by about $60,000. That's a change to our Title I, Title II allocation. Each year our allocation begins a little small in the summer, and then historically the federal government does increase that allocation around February, and then our carryover flows through as well. Other financing sources decreased by about $50,000, and that's the difference in the calculation of the indirect costs that we can transfer from food service to our general fund. So while our revenues have decreased, our expenditures stayed pretty steady. They increased slightly, about $50,000, but not too much. Instruction is where we saw a $330,000 increase. We've got our tutoring and our summer school program there, possible wage and benefit increases. Pupil support increased by about $33,000. Again, we've got wage and benefit increases, a little change in staffing there. Historically, we've had 2.7 speech therapists, and yet the caseloads continue to grow. So this year we will have 3 full-time speech therapists. Then we've got instructional staff support. That's up $108,000, and that right there is our 35J categorical that I talked about. That's going to purchase curriculum, it's going to provide for a literacy coach and PD for our staff. General administration has decreased by about $13,000, and that's hopefully a savings in our legal expenses since we had a special project this year for the district's property. And with the conclusion of that project, our legal expenses should be less next year. School administration is up by about $24,000. That's a change in allocation there. If you recall, this past school year, we started with one principal at MAC and RO. We decided that was not the best model for our district. Halfway through the year, we then did one principal at MAC, one at RO. And so this increase here is you're just seeing that change in allocation for the whole school year rather than 6 months that took place this school year. Business services stayed steady. Operations and maintenance increased about $240,000. There we have some wage and benefit increases. We have some staffing changes. Our maintenance coordinator came on board halfway through the school year. He is a full year employee for this budget. We have some custodial staffing changes. We will need to purchase a lawn tractor. Ours is at its end of life. And we do have some projects scheduled at NBC for carpet and drowsy repair. Transportation is down by about $185,000. As I mentioned, we don't have the revenue in there for electric for us, so we don't have the expenses in there either. And our fleet needs are different for next year. This year we purchased 2 buses and a van. Next year we have 1 bus in the budget. Other central support decreased by about $48,000. We have some E-rate expenditures this school year, along with the retirement that took place this school year. Athletics decreased by about $130,000. That's the scoreboards that were purchased in this year's budget and will not be a recurring expense next year. Community services and others decreased by about $18,000. We have the expiration of some homeless grants and a change in how Title I was allocated. And construction and improvements decreased by about $300,000. We don't have any construction projects planned out of the general fund. Other financing also is at $0 as we don't have any more loans for our buses. Those were paid off this past school year. So we take all that information into account. We've got $19.6 million in revenues. We've got $19.9 in expenditures. That would leave us taking $367,000 out of our fund balance. Next June of 2025, that would leave us with $2.26 million, which is 11.3%. Historically, we've always brought a conservative budget to you, and this is that budget once again, and we do anticipate that we will end up better than what I'm presenting to you here. Now we move on to our school service funds. Food service fund, every year it's been our goal to end with an allowable fund balance. If all of the planets align and this takes place, we will be able to accomplish that next year. For our revenues, we are anticipating that the state will continue to fund free breakfast and free lunch for all students. For our expenditures, we have the food service portion of the farm to school production kitchen. Now that project is currently on hold. We're waiting for more money because we do have a general fund portion of that project, and we're waiting to receive grant funds for that. We should know in October whether or not we're able to receive those grant funds. If we're not, then we may have to pivot a bit and choose a different project, and at that point in time, we will decide how to spend down those fund balance dollars if we're not able to proceed. Safety and Tech Fund, this is our countywide millage. Next year, the public school academies get a piece of the pie, so we are anticipating our revenue will be a little bit less. Revenues and expenditures will equal each other, leave us with about $350. Our largest expenditure here was approved by the board last month, and that was the replacement of Chromebooks that are at end of life. We will continue to replace other devices that happen to be at end of life. We buy a large amount of technology, district software licenses, and we fund our technology assistance with this fund. Moving on to the Scholarship Trust Fund, we have 4 scholarships here still housed in the district. We have the Flynn, Griffin, O'Connell, and Trevino. We anticipate that we will receive a donation each year and that the students will be awarded their scholarships as chosen by the committee. Should leave us with about $25,000 next June. The Student Activity Fund are the funds housed at the buildings. We anticipate money in is money out for fundraising purposes. Should leave us with around $138,000. And while I don't have to give you an official formal budget on the sinking fund, I'd like to keep you updated. I talked last month that we were gonna work on the upgrade of the HVAC at RO, and that is still happening. There is a delay in the shipment of the equipment, so that project will probably take place in September now rather than August. After that, we would like to move forward with the upgrade of our fire suppression systems throughout the district. Those need to be brought up to code. And then just from the last week, I was notified of a need for possibly an emergency, an urgent need for a roof at NBC over the gym. So we will see how that plays out and how urgent that need is, and if we need to move forward with that this fall. So I presented this budget to you, and looking forward, we got a lot of different factors at play. We'll keep you updated. We'll present an amendment in December. You know, what does our per pupil allocation look like? Is it the 241? Is it more? Is it less? What does our categorical funding look like? Are there going to be additional categoricals? Are they going to take away some of the categoricals? Student enrollment. Will more students show up this fall than we predicted? Staffing. That will continue to evolve over the summer, along with our negotiations when it comes to contract renewals. How will those wage and benefit increases impact the budget? And through it all, I want to stay conservative and be fiscally responsible for the district. Are there any questions?
Stacy, do we know yet what the numbers of the kindergarten class coming in are? Have we seen that projection for kindergarten roundup yet?
It's very small.
That's what I wondered.
It is very small. We have predicted 85 new plus our current young fivers, so
Okay.
a little over, and it may be slightly less than that.
Do you remember what the class was that graduated out? Jeff, do you remember?
6.
106? Including or excluding exchange students? We didn't have too many, did we? Not including?
Yeah, we
Okay.
only included that number, those who actually graduated.
Okay.
So it's 9 plus, young 5 equals 100.
About 100.
So it's kind of the same. Where's 53?
Well, 85 is what we're projecting. We're thinking, as of
that's
right
it.
now, that the kindergarten enrollment will about 10 now. So I think 76 is what's there. Now, we will gain a couple as individuals see the school bus and say, wow, that's right, we got school. So we will gain some on that, but it's across the state as a whole. I would think almost across the nation, just with the lower birth rates that have taken place over time. We are a little bit smaller this year.
And Karen, we've lost some throughout the years. And yes, we've got that 1368 in the fall. So we don't have 1368 now. So we took everybody, we rolled them forward a year. We estimated the kindergarten class. We estimated was at Duck Creek. We estimated our early childhood special ed classroom. And then we do our conservative and we factor in if we were to follow it not be the case.
Makes sense.
Any other questions?
Just one more question on the safety and technology. Is our SRO officer in there? Or is that
He is
different?
paid with the state grant.
With the state grant?
Yeah, we've got a state grant from the Michigan State Police, which pays half of it. And we have a state grant, which is Section 97. It's a safety grant from the state of Michigan.
And we'll get that again, or is that something we have to reapply for every year?
We have to reapply for that, I think you're okay. We do have enough carryover funds because we started just this year with SRO. We have enough to cover this year and next year if the state were to decide not to remove
Have we heard if that's made a difference in our schools at all? Have you had any feedback on an SRO officer?
So I will be
interviews?
reporting out on our SO numbers. Actually,
That's my
Superintendent
next
Holb and
question.
I just recently met this past week, and we looked at numbers as far as reports and what that has done for our school. I've got feedback from our principals as well as far as growth looking into next year as well within the program. Overall, yes, I think that it has seen a positive effect. I think that the one thing that really hasn't changed though is our what's the proper word that I'm looking for? Citations to the prosecutor. I mean, that's not the right word as citations, but our the reports that we have sent to the prosecutor's office have not increased, but yet our overall reports and working with children on specific has increased, which I think allows us to have a closer look at what's going on. But I'll present all that in the spreadsheet to you as well.
Okay.
Any additional questions? All right, item 7B, athletic update by Mr. Holter.
Thanks, Stacy.
Yep.
Yes, wonderful job, Stacy Brown.
As always, wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to take a couple minutes, just to sort of let you know where we are at in the world of athletics. Some of you I know are living this world like I am. It seems like sometimes we are busy almost every day. Again, this is something I started doing a few years ago just to sort of give you an idea of everything that goes on in the world of athletics. I mean, there's a lot of pieces that go on behind the scenes that a lot of people don't realize, and they just sort of get the idea, hey, when I show up on a Friday night for a basketball game or a football game, but there's a lot of other things that go on behind the scenes. So this is just a report. If you go to page 3, that sort of gives some highlights of this past year. Again, we as coaches, we always try to set a theme, sort of something that we're going to continue to work and strive on. Last year, our coach, we really want to set the standard here at Montague. I mean, we want to be leaders in the community. We want to be leaders in the West Michigan Conference. We really want to be leaders in the state. And we felt as coach, we're not there yet. So that's sort of where we're continuing to lead. We really want to set the standard. We want people to talk about Montague in the highest we got. A couple key highlights. Probably one which just happened a week or so ago. Our baseball team pulled off a very big stunner. We defeated North Stevens, ranked number 1 in the state. They were picked by a lot of people to go on to win the state title. So that was a nice, pleasant surprise. Another highlight was our senior wrestler, Emma Pendel. She earned her 4th All-State Award, which is pretty phenomenal. She was an All-State wrestler for all 4 years, and she was a state champion in her sophomore year. The varsity wrestling team had the highest GPA of any Division III team in the state of Michigan for the 3rd consecutive year. That's something that we hang our hat on. And then this past week or so at the track state finals, Wyatt Fairchild was state champion in the adaptive 400. That's really cool. And in talking with Wyatt, I saw him next week. He says, "Yeah, I wish I would have done the other couple races as well because he felt he could have done really well as well." So that is really exciting for him. And again, as always, we have numerous of our teams that are academic, all-state. That's sort of beginning to be the norm here. Which leads right in our next thing. You hear about this all the time. The positive benefits of educational athletics. And again, if you can look at the data every year, our student athletes at the middle school and the high school are doing much better in their classes with the academic compared to the non-athletes. I mean, Lake can run these numbers for 20 years, and these numbers are always going to be the same. I mean, our students do great things in the classroom, and we are very fortunate. In my times of athletic director, I talk to ADs all the time, weekly, and we are blessed that we don't have as many of the academic problems with our athletes and the teams as some other districts do. So again, we are just very blessed. Another highlight is 8 of our teams were academic all-state again for this year. Girls golf, volleyball, wrestling, competitive cheer, boys and girls basketball, softball, and girls soccer. And we had 111 of our high school athletes earned a West Michigan Conference Scholar athlete. Basically, you have to be a varsity athlete and have a 3.5 GPA. 111, that's a pretty insane number. And then to get to the middle school, 66% of all of our whiz kids, so 66 out of 100 were student athletes for this past year for us. So that's really each hitting home, our kids doing the right thing. Why do we excel? Because, we have high expectations. I think this what sets us apart from other districts. We have high expectations for our students, for our coaches. Our kids adhere to the athletic code 24/7, 365. We have the GPA, we have the weekly graded eligibility checks with the citizenship. and then we do a good job of providing some guidance for some of our college-bound athletes. It seems lately we're getting more and more of our senior student athletes that are choosing to go on and play sports at the collegiate level. We have a shared vision. We are really, really working on continuing to improve that channel of communication between teachers and coaches. I know it's something I've stressed the past couple of years with our coaches, really being diligent in the communication piece. And we have the parent meetings, and again, we are getting there with making sure that everybody is on the right page with this. I tend to be a number guy, and when I do this, it's sort of nice, so I get to really kind of take a look at, hey, what are all the things that we did. So we currently offer 16 sports here at the high school. Some of these are club, like we have the equestrian club, we have a boys hockey co-op, we have one high school student playing with the Reese Buffer co-op. It does include sideline cheer. We have 34 teams, and we have 229 student athletes, which is 53% of the student body. I would like to see that number be even higher, but I will take that. We have 123 female and 106 male. And then the main one that I really push is the kind of multi-sport. We really want our student athletes to be involved in multiple sports. When they're involved in 2 and 3, all the sports benefit. It is better for the students. And then at middle school, we have 12 sports. Now this does include some sideline cheer, baseball, softball, and equestrian, and actually, I forgot to add, boys and girls soccer are on there well. We get some club sports now that are really starting to gain some momentum, 21 teams. We have 164 student athletes at the middle school, 52%. And, the ironic, we were 82 female and 82 male this past year for our athletes at the middle school. My main point is probably, if you kind of look down at the events, athletics are the front porch of the school. I am a firm believer in that, right? Because most people, their first experience coming to Montague are probably going to be to come to really supportive. And again, first impressions are vital, positive impressions. Again, and Mr. Rath always jokes for me that I always like to host. Yes, I love to host. I would love to have all home events, but I don't think that this ground would appreciate that as much. But again, I want people to come to Montague. I want people to see our facilities. I want them to have a good experience, and I want to bring people to the Whitehall community. And we are getting there. Some of our events are well respected and getting known around the state. For example, our girls wrestling tournament that we host over the Christmas break, we draw schools from all around the state.
I love it, Jay. Just for the record, I don't have to drive as far.
Oh yeah.
And we had people stay in our Airbnb that was one of the wrestling tournaments.
Yes.
So
So this past year we hosted 215 in the competition. Now, I count that for every game. Let's say we have a basketball trophy, all right, that's 3 different things. And we also host the MHSA postseason. Again, especially our athletic trainer Jess, she always agreed with me. Said, "Oh, hey, by the way, we're hosting baseball, softball division. Oh yeah, we're hosting track regionals again." But again, I feel we have the facilities, and especially once the new gym is completed here, by hopefully late this year or early spring, we're gonna put in the host more. Because again, I feel, hey, we have the facilities, and I think we do a very good job of running them. So again, that's sort of who I am. My family may think elsewise, they come never home, but it's a good thing that I was so close. But again, we will continue to host because I think our kids and our families appreciate coming here rather than having to travel. The next page just sort of gives you all the breakdown of our sports, and the numbers in blue are the current numbers of people that participated in each sport. Again, most of our sports are staying pretty consistent. When I was putting this together, the numbers from last year to this year are pretty consistent. I have a feeling that one sport, volleyball, we may see an increase in our volleyball numbers. I've been hearing that there may be possibly more girls coming out for volleyball, possibly that may justify a freshman team coming up. I mean, that's, you know, what I'm hearing. You know, but again, we really want to invest in our coaches. We want to invest in our kids because we want them to have a positive experience with an athletic sport. And then, of course, if you kind of go further down there, are all of our numbers for the middle school as well. And ironic thing is, the number of 8th graders that participate in sport was just really staggering. It was like 60 out of 80 some of the current 8th graders were involved in sport, which that to me is just a phenomenal high number, which is really exciting to see that many kids are invested. You know, again, we really try to want kids to be invested in something, be part of our community, whether it's athletics, robotics, DECA, FFA. You know, we want kids to be involved. If you go to the next page, and again, that's how we did. We place in for the West Michigan Conference. You know, we're pretty much right in the middle right now. You know, 4 or 5. You know, we're not dead last. You know, we're not first. You know, we're sort of right in the middle. Right now, which is okay. I never stress to our coaches, hey, you know, winning at all costs. I say we're going to do things correctly, and our success will feed off from that. The big one is, you know, we had several all-state athletes. You know, I mean, for us in the athletic world, that's the highest. We had 3 wrestlers, Ava, Emma, and Jimmy, all placed at the state meet last year, and then of course we had Wyatt, the state champion, this past couple of weeks at the track finals, and we had plenty of state qualifiers, and that's sort of our kind of Super Bowl per se. And then when we go to the West Michigan Conference, we were well represented, and we are very fortunate to be in the West Michigan Conference, which is a very strong and vibrant and successful athletic conference. I mean, for example, I know Hart just won, the girls won the third state track championship. I know we have several teams that are still playing in the softball finals currently right now. Which brings me to my next point. You know, we are in year 2 of the expansion of the West Michigan Conference. It is going quite well. You know, there are some learning curves that, you know, we are learning as we go. Some things that have worked before maybe aren't working. We have met as a subcommittee to make some changes to our constitution and bylaws, especially with expansion, because this fall would be that time where we would possibly have we as ADs, you know, have to vote and recommend, you know, we want to possibly look at expanding as well. I will tell you this: we will never expand to more than 16. I mean, that's clear. Right now we're at 7-7, and there has been some talk. A lot of pushback. The way we do middle school right now, we do it by geographic location. The northern and southern, and there are some schools that feel that's maybe not the best interest for middle school athletes. Like I'm going to use, for example, Ludington has 650 kids, and then they have to go play a whole Hesperia, which has 250 kids. But when we expanded the league, the superintendents were very adamant they wanted to reduce travel. And I can see that, but I can also see the point, you know, say, you know, if you're playing a school that has 3 times as many kids as you, it's probably not going to be fair. You know, I've had several conversations with Mr. Johnson. For us, like, we're the best of both worlds because we're right in the middle of all the schools, so the travel really wouldn't affect us. But I might predict that possibly may change for the middle school. You know, we might try to redo that a little bit to maybe go over the lakes and the rivers. But I can also see for someone, say, like from like a Orchard View, you know, would maybe not want to send their kind of middle school kids all the way to Tennessee. I totally understand that as well.
We're unique in the idea that we're in the middle. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
We're
Really
yeah, and pretty much all the schools that we get on the highway, and we're there, way in and out. So, which is pretty. The last thing, some new additions this past year.
Jake, quick question.
Oh, yeah, I'm
on
sorry.
the expansion, is it? You might have said this, and I might have been zoning out, but are they re-looking that for balance for school sizes this year, or is that next year?
Yeah. So actually, the principals have a Zoom meeting next
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
This Wednesday.
Wednesday, sorry. Yes, so they have to vote and approve because we met as a subcommittee, we went through our Constitution and, as a league. But there was some language we needed to clean up that was pretty old. And like one is to cap the expansion, we will never go more than kind of 60. Ideally, we would like to have, kind of 8 and 8.
Yeah. I guess jumping between the divisions.
Yes, and there is language, if it passes by the executive council for the league, which is the principals, and then from there it goes to superintendent, that this is the year where we would take a 2-year average, and there's one school that may be going up, and there's one school that may be going down, so.
You think that'll affect us at all?
No, because this list is pretty much in order of school population. So right now, Manistee and Hart may be the two that may possibly switch.
Yeah, but us compared to Ludington though?
But
What's that look like?
we're at about 450. Ludington is 650. But again,
Okay.
we are for like basketball and volleyball. We're still in Division 2 for them, which is their class. So come tournament time, we're going to be playing those.
Those,
schools.
anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we've taken the kind of mindset here, Mike. We don't mind playing up big. Yeah.
Okay, so.
It's something that we have to. So yes, but that is one that's could be heated for a few little schools. One I know doesn't want to go up, and I know one would like to go down. So yeah. So
It's in the bylaws, right?
yes, correct. Yep. And I would tell you there is one school, Fruitport, that has already said they have already turned in their application to apply for the league. So yes, but they would be the biggest. They're at like 775, but they're still below that kind of threshold. I think the threshold is
80.
yeah, just over 800. So, but that will get a lot of press and stuff moving forward. A couple of new additions this past year. I really took to heart. We did a coach's kind of book study. I gave all my coaches a great book called Coach to Coach. And we had some small group, we had some individual discussions on that, it's just a good story just to really make our coaches think about what their role as a coach is, what really is a coach. We have a lot of our coaches now that are doing the CAP training by the MHSA. If you are a new varsity head coach, it is mandatory, but I've had a lot of veteran coaches that have jumped on board. And we are now a Huddle, a all-school program. So Huddle is an online platform that allows coaches and players to watch and evaluate game tape. It's actually pretty cool and it's pretty handy. We still use our social media kind of marketing. I guess this is an area where I'm not super strong. I would be able to do more, but I don't have the time to put stuff out there probably as much as I would like to. And then, of course, we are constantly looking at, our health and safety of our student athletes. All of our athletes are impact tested for baseline and concussion, 6 through 12. Our coaches are going to be trained in CPR and AED. The MHSA is mandating this for this coming year for all head coaches, middle school and high school. We do have a certified athletic trainer at all home events for the high school. We do a good job of injury prevention rehab. We are really working on a district-wide strength and conditioning program. This morning, Jess DeBruin, our athletic trainer, had a morning session for female athletes, 6, 12, there were almost 30 girls there, which is really exciting. And the last one, I'm really working hard. I have a couple of ideas to really focus on the social and emotional health of our coaches and our athletes. And then I guess this last page, things that I've been doing, again, all the top other things we are currently in progress. Some are, on a yearly, some things like the 1, 3, 5-year plan to make grade and upgrade facilities, and again, one of those was the scoreboards, which are going to be started putting in here next month. Again, I think our athletic kind of booster club is up and running. We have a great core of women that are running it now, and they're doing a really good job. Our participation numbers are good, and again, the last one we're continue to host events until I'm told we can't host. we're gonna host, and you know, now with the new gym coming, I would love to get like a regional basketball, the quarterfinal. I mean, we haven't hosted volleyball districts postseason here in forever because our season has been too low. So I am really excited about that. And again, some of my goals for this coming year, I want to really create a strong student leadership program. I have a couple models. I know Fremont uses one where they work with certain students to sort of create those theme nights for games and make sure the theme nights are appropriate and really engage the students. I would like to do more work with our captains. We call it a captain clinic. I've had some preliminary conversations with some people about getting an athletic hall of fame going, so I think that would be a great thing for us, varsity breakfast, and continue to honor our athletes of the weekend month. And currently for me, for professional development, I will finish up my certification here in the fall of this year. I continue to go to the MI AAA conference in Traverse City every year. I last presented in 2022, and I'm currently on a couple of committees with the MHSAA, and I would like to possibly expand sometime possibly to the national conference, and there's a summer workshop. So, that in a nutshell is my, any questions?
Yeah, what is adapted 400 meters?
So adaptive is why he's in a wheelchair. Yep. So they consider it to be adaptive. Yes.
And around 100, that's a wheelchair with a wheel out front.
Yeah. And the MHSA is really starting to kind of push that. I mean, last year they had a little bit, and this year they had like dedicated races at the kind of state.
He participated against normal runners the entire year, so he was pretty impressive to watch. Yes.
Yeah.
Times are going through here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good job, Jay. Nice.
Item 7C, superintendent comments.
All right, as you can see, we have a couple new hires that have joined us here in the district. Tara Hess and Tanya Elsey as LRE aides at that elementary level. Tara is learning grad, where Tanya is a both grade graduate. Moving on to other comments, we are continuing to meet with the MTA and teach negotiations going on. The event last week, this week, continuing to move forward in that process. Our ad team is working furiously throughout the month to add some new additions to our staff. Those that left within retirement, we're trying to make sure that we're adding only those positions that are needed here within the district, but they are interviewing multiple positions next week and in the following week as well. Remember to hold the August 22nd date for the superintendent evaluation rate of reliability. I am still working on another option, but that is the one that's at the ISD conference room. But I am still looking at just our group as a whole, but I don't have anything set yet. So if you could hold that August 22nd date, which would be 5:30 to 8:30 on your time. Also going on this month, obviously we've got a number of different things, as we heard last month with the transportation contract that we worked out for electric cars. We'll have many buses working for that here at the end of the month. Along with the Catholic Heart Work Camp, which has always came here to the high school. Obviously with the construction it looks a little bit different. We're going to actually have some students and staff at the middle school as well, but this is close to 300 students that come in from all over the country to work on community projects throughout the community. So we're excited to have them. This might actually work out better in the long run for us. We'll separate the male and female participants that will make their life a little bit easier, I think, as camp counselors or other children's work well in that process as well. Tomorrow leads off our first district improvement team. We have had a council kind of developing what this team looks like and who might be these participants of a district improvement team. And their work begins tomorrow, and really working to plan for our improvement process as a district, but then also our teacher professional staff, I should say, professional development throughout the district as well. So we're excited to kick that off, and you'll hear more about that here as well. And that is it for superintendent comments.
All right. Item 8 is new business. 8A is a consideration to approve the proposed 2024-25 budget. Suggested motion to approve the proposed 2024-25 budget as presented. So moved by Amanda.
Support. We don't know how to act.
Got it.
That's okay.
Support by Karen. All right, discussion.
So you heard from Stacy earlier, not only in the finance committee prior to the board meeting, but then from her in her presentation as well. Yes, are there any other questions? I think that we have proposed a budget here that is hopefully conservative in nature to make sure that we're in a good spot. Obviously, there's so many unknowns. As Stacy will tell you, the day she created this budget, it changed. So it's always a kind of a working document. We kind of always make sure that we're being fiscally responsible within the district, and there's still many parts and pieces. Obviously, one of those being the state budget and what that entails for us. So we'll know more, and we'll keep you updated at that point in time.
Any additional discussion or questions? All right, all those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8B, consideration to approve the MESPA contract extension through 2027. Suggested motion to approve the MESPA contract through 2027.
Support.
Moved by Amanda, supported by Cindy. Discussion.
So obviously you have the contract there. This is an extension of the current contract. There's some changes. And for the upcoming year, that would be a 2% increase of salary with a two-step change to the salary schedule, meaning the bottom two steps would be removed and two additional steps would be added to the top in our efforts to continue to move that hourly rate upward. 2025 and 26, along with the 2026 and 27, that would be a 2% salary schedule increase on that. Please note that we do agree to look at the reopening of that for wage rates only at the end of each year of 25-26 and 26-27 to see if additional dollars can be added to that. We did some other things that you might have noticed, but there was some language around the all employees hired after 2016 weren't getting the 20% or 20 cent shift premium increase in that. So we have now taken that back out since we have added it, just in an effort to hopefully find some more individuals to work at those facility positions at a 7-hour shift. Also looking around the $125 2-hour minimum on the weekends for some custodial work as well. Taking out the downtime rate for driving time for our bus drivers and just as one paid rate as a whole. And then some other language changes around FMLA, proficiency tests, how sick time is to be used, just a lot of HR language. That makes it a lot easier between the HR department and the staff working there. The other thing would be the paid holiday chart. So there are 3 holidays that include the eves of the day after Thanksgiving, I believe is the 3rd, that were not for a certain group within the support staff, and this would be after 5 years of service you would then receive those, where there was only certain staff that got that. So those are the major changes that you see within the contract.
Any additional questions or discussions?
Can you explain how the custodial rate works on the weekends? Like, does any of that additional go back to the custodian, or are they still paid their regular rate?
So they're paid their regular rate, but
Okay.
if they, at a minimum, they would receive $125. So if we needed something and it was not to be maybe even 2 hours worth of work, it would be that minimum of $125.
So that would be someone that's contracted to use our buildings, correct? Like,
Well,
Or would it be-
we would pay our staff. Let's say we need something, a custodial pickup after an event that took place here on the weekend.
Okay.
And it was an hour and a half worth of work. They would not receive less than $125, which would be less than an hour and a half each. And it's really just to make sure that we're getting people here on the weekends that,
Right.
have,
Yeah, it's
take a weekend time and an hour and a half worth of work. Not advantageous. It was a struggle for us to find.
Right.
So we were putting some people in those positions, but to be fair to them, the reason we increased that is due to some of the ranges of those custodial rates, making sure that it keeps up with, as the hourly rates increase, it needs to be advantageous for them too.
So then if we had somebody that was contracted to use our auditorium, then the custodial rate is built into that contract. So like
Correct.
just used to be.
Yes.
Okay.
Our prices, as far as rentals are concerned.
Is that gone up too?
Yes, it will.
Okay.
Any additional questions or comments? All right, all those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8C, consideration to approve MASB membership renewal for 24-25. Suggest a motion to approve the membership renewal of the Michigan Association of School Boards, MASB, for the 2024-2025 school year.
Support.
Need a motion first?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I was
was
reading
waiting.
ahead. I was already reading it. Go ahead.
I'll support Karen if she wants to make the motion.
Karen, do you want to make a motion?
Yes.
Okay. Support by Anna.
There you go.
All right. Discussion.
So this is our annual renewal of MASB. This provides us all the legal updates through their process, but allows you additional supports of things that are needed as well, if you so desire. It allows us to get reduced rates on different trainings, for instance. The training that we talked about would be a lesser rate for those trainings as well. There are emails and other professional development opportunities as well in that process, and being a member of this group provides us at a lesser rate than not.
Are they considered a nonprofit or are they considered governmental?
They are considered
Probably nonprofit. They're not part of the government.
they're non-profit. They're an association of other government organizations. How to clearly classify that. I think there would be
Would be like a chamber of commerce.
Yeah, I think the chamber is a nonprofit. I don't know what designation. I
We'll
just
find that
found out,
answer.
Yeah.
It would be very similar.
State of Michigan says they're a domestic nonprofit.
Domestic nonprofit.
I was just thinking that.
We all got smarter.
So other than like support, training, I mean, what other resources, what other value do they bring to the district? Does that make sense? Are they lobbying on behalf of the district?
They have lobbyists. They have a whole board, a whole team that works with many different districts. They look to take information that they gain maybe from one district to share out to the group as a whole. I think that this price that you see and the fee that is attached to that is very advantageous when things are not going well. And sometimes you might think if things are going well, that why would we pay additional dollars for their work? But I think that when you're looking at times of looking for a new superintendent, their work, and obviously there's a fee attached to that, but they're very helpful in those processes. And I think that for the professional development side of boards, they're very helpful as well. That could be within their work. Stacy, any other add-ons with MASB?
They're a valuable resource when it comes to legal issues.
Brad Banasic is very helpful to us as a legal component when we're looking for answers board related on some things so that we're not calling into term as resolutions.
right, any additional discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item D, consideration to approve MHSA membership renewal for 2024-2025. Suggest a motion to approve the MHSA membership renewal resolution for the 2024-25 school year as presented. Moved by Amanda, support by Joel. Discussion.
So this is our annual renewal. As you can see here, we do this every year. This is for Montague High School and NBC. That allows us to compete in NHSA state tournaments.
Is there a price on here? Why not find it?
Probably ticket sales and stuff.
Correct. Yeah, got a private company. Charge dues.
Okay. Any additional discussion or questions?
This is a silly question, but there's no alternate MHS, there's no.
Yeah, I don't know of any.
Michigan.
Do you know of any, Jay? I don't know of any.
No,
I mean, it's not, I think what you're thinking probably like NCAA versus NAIA.
Just in general, like, this seems like you have one choice, so you either want to compete in the state or you don't.
Or you don't.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
So based on spring help with students for the next year.
Yeah, so in February, I turned in a form to the state. That's on account. That's sort of based on.
How is our district represented with the MHSA? So, I mean, are you involved in like boards, groups?
Yes,
steering
I'm
committees? that kind of
currently
stuff?
on the middle school committee. I'm also on the high school wrestling officials. Yeah. So, yeah, and then like those are normally kind of 2-year cycles. Yeah. Then like every 2 years, if you want to be part of something. I know that Phil Kerr, our girls golf coach, has been involved. Which is golf side as well.
My only other question is, they're covering middle schools? I mean, what is their?
Yes, so they are starting to expand. For the past 2 years now, the MHSA has sponsored regional middle school cross country championships. They're doing track now as well, so they're beginning to expand their kind of footprint a little bit into middle school world now. Put some money towards some of the sponsorship.
So previously they had no jurisdiction over junior high?
Yes and no. Basically, we are a member school, so we tend to play other member schools of the HSA. So there are certain kind of guidelines that we follow. They provide us basically kind of blueprint. These are their expectations, and basically we follow. So I mean, in theory, we can say, we're not going to be members of the HSA and be a middle school level. I don't know about it.
It provides all the groundwork for
Yeah,
what
correct.
we're doing.
homeschool athletes, do they have any option to play in our sports?
They need to be here in 66%. Now, I do know there are some homeschool leagues out there, that exist, where other homeschool kids, will play, but.
Is that at the middle school level as well, Jay, or is that?
There is also an option for us for homeschooling. It does not come to us as a school district, but it would go to Whitehall Public Schools as Whitehall Community Ed. It has a homeschooling component to it. So through Whitehall Community Ed, because they're sponsored by Whitehall District Schools, they would then could become an athlete.
Is that an MHSA rule or is that a local? the 66.
Oh, that's the MHSA.
So we could technically elect to not follow that rule if we wanted to.
But
At
though,
the middle school level.
but though, our kids couldn't play against other middle school.
Okay. Only at the regional track meet.
Well, no, I mean, really, just being like, we will never play a school that's probably not around.
Are there any schools out there that are?
Like, Newer Christian, I know, is not a member of the MHSA.
Big programming, yeah,
Certain smaller programs.
Yes, but most schools are.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, a lot. You could say the same thing at the collegiate level too. Like I had gotten some questions on the homeschool stuff from some parents, so I was curious as to what.
But it's nice being members of it, because they do provide a lot of kind of resources for us. They don't charge us anything, if we, I'm calling there probably once a month, to get some
Feedback.
Yep.
Are they? I know there's been some middle school transfer type of things. Are they going to get involved in that?
Oh yes, they are really starting to expand that more now with like the transfer, the undue influence, the links. Yes.
Okay.
I bet you that's going to keep going down because now some schools are getting smart. We're not doing it, but some realize that you can have kids at the middle school level and it's really not a whole lot of red tape per se, whereas the high school level is really.
Yeah, sit out a year, have to get away.
But I would dare bet you within 3-4 years it'll expand.
Okay.
So this says 6th graders will be participating in at least one sport with 7th and 8th graders. What exactly?
So
Cross country.
So 6th graders can now be in middle school sports under this
Yep, so
MHSA.
cross country, wrestling, competitive cheer, track and field.
So not like the contact.
Right,
6
not-
and 8 can't handle it.
So like for football, no, you can allow it, you need league approval for like a team sport like basketball or volleyball. We've had some schools where we'd say, hey, we don't have enough 7th graders, so they need to get league approval to allow some.
I was just gonna say, can they? What if you've got like a really outstanding 6th grader?
What?
You can't, I don't think they can't do that.
Some league schools have tried to do that. I'll just
And that's a no-no?
totally.
Okay.
Yes,
I just
the whole rationale is you need to get permission because you're short on numbers.
So who picks? I mean, just say 8 picks what school, what sports our 6th graders can be in, or do
Yes.
we pick? They pick. Okay.
And I think it's sort of a good bridge, to get the kids involved a little bit, but it's not as crazy as it's not right there.
Any additional discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item E, consideration to approve the athletic overnight trip request. Suggested motion to approve the summer overnight athletic trip request for varsity girls basketball to Petoskey on June 16th to the 18th and varsity wrestling to Urbana, Ohio on June 23rd to the 27th. Motion by Amanda. Support by Cindy. Discussion.
So you can see the Big North Shootout is for the girls basketball team, which includes 10 athletes, 2 coaches, and then they're renting a house for their stay during their time to have some team bonding there. And then obviously with the varsity wrestling camp with Jeff Jordan, which is out of state in Ohio. There'll be 17 different athletes with 3 coaches going on that. I believe they stay in dorms.
Some they stay in dorms, some they sleep right in the back.
Right on the mats. That's their location. Boys.
This is not co-ed.
That was the
Right.
question.
Joe and I were just discussing that.
No,
No
sorry.
girls? There are girls.
there.
Oh, there are girls.
So there are girls.
I'm not seeing any female chaperones. Right.
Rolling around on mats is the best thing.
You know how with the male and female setups there? Because this is happening fast.
Yeah, so they have counselors that work the camp. So the girls sleep in a separate area and there are counselors that stay with them in that space. They wrestle all together. They don't sleep in the same space.
So our girls would have a coach or chaperone from our district with them where they're sleeping.
Right, and many schools that send athletes there don't send a coach at all. They just have kids there because there's staff.
Well, what if we have an emergency with a female student and we don't have anybody for her?
We'd have the counselor.
They're the same as
Their
staff.
camps.
Oh, their
They're the
staff.
same
Yes.
Oh,
They're the
okay.
same.
Camp is staffed by
Have
people.
Jay, have you seen their staff? Have you seen females listed
No,
on? Would you? Yeah. Just like over our bases, I think we have something.
So, I mean, I'll just say all the Jordans are there, right? There's a bunch of them, and their wives are there. And then they also have teenage counselors. Like Jimmy's going to be a counselor this summer, so he's one of the counselors. So they have, most of their counselors are college athletes that come back and work this summer.
And the housing is what, where
They sleep on the mats.
they're in different buildings?
The building is set up, it has 2 wings.
Sounds like us we're back to being the next meeting. I'll regret it.
Any additional questions or discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I was wavering.
You were wavering?
No, we were, yeah.
All right. Item 9 is adjournment. Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor, stand up. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carried. Meeting adjourned.
Hello, Karen.
Right, I have a lot.
They didn't even say I was like,
Oh,
I
hi.
said when I was walking around.
They need my signature?
I'm gonna have a lot for you guys.
That's okay, I'm